What's up everyone, welcome back to ARTV. My name is John and it's time for a review of the 5th studio album by the rock band Cage the Elephant titled Social Cues. I don't know if I would exactly call the years in between studio albums downtime for Cage the Elephant, because of course they did put out the Unpeeled sessions, but also the frontman Matt Schultz was going through a lot in his personal life. There was a divorce from his wife of 7 years. There was something in him that just realized that it wasn't going to work. I think it was a mutual realization. They took a trip to Pompeii and things started to fall apart. Then Matt unfortunately took the brunt of that, going through everything in his mind, racking his brain, trying to figure out and make sense of everything that happened. And sometimes that pain that we go through in life turns into some of the most beautiful art. And that's what's happening in the case of Social Cues for Cage the Elephant. Now, I was really impressed with the lead-off single, Ready to Let Go, because it saw them not only kind of returning to their roots, but they also took on a little bit of a different sound. There were some other things in the mix. I could hear that popping out immediately. And then House of Glass, the second single, that just slammed the door shut and said, yes, I am extremely hyped for this. Maybe I didn't care about Tell Me I'm Pretty all that much. I know that's an unpopular opinion. The album just wasn't for me, but this record I was excited for. So with the hype building, did it deliver? Social Cues allowed Cage the Elephant to not only return to a bit of their vintage sound, but to also update it and expand it in the sense that they've got 6 people in the band and they all want to take on some new responsibilities. So you're gonna hear some new organic instruments in the mix, from the mellotron on the opening track Broken Boy to the keys that pop up on songs like The War Is Over. And for the most part, it almost always plays out to their advantage. That fuzzy sound that they achieve that leans a bit into psychedelic rock, indie rock, and obviously alternative rock, it does sound a bit like classic Cage the Elephant, but with a new twist thanks to super producer John Hill, who has worked with the likes of everyone pretty much in the industry. I was looking through his production credits and I could not believe the amount of albums that I didn't realize that he was a part of. Bass guitar fans and aficionados in the audience, please give a round of applause to this record, because overall, even if you haven't heard the album yet, you're going to be so pleased with the fact that this album settles into so many grooves and there's so many distinct bass lines and even guitar parts in general. I really do like the way that this album shaped up, because the drumming, the attention to detail, even the vocal performances from Matt Schultz deserve a lot of praise. I really do feel that they kind of carved out the best they could out of the pain that he was going through. And I feel that both vocally and lyrically, he kind of hit his own stride. And I say that because, yes, he's doing things vocally, hitting new ranges, new octaves, but he's also hitting a stride in the sense that this album talks a lot about running and hiding. I've already said it once in this review, and I know it's been said a million times already, but sometimes the most painful experiences, the strife that we encounter in life, is a starting point for some of the most important art that some people will create. And for Matt Schultz, this was a jumping off point. He didn't exactly get jump-started right away, and in fact, many of these songs kind of tormented him because this is his emotions being channeled into the music, but it was something that was therapeutic. Now, it affected the rest of the band as well, because they saw the turmoil that he was experiencing and the short days in the studio, the fact that he was leaving early. He was kind of checking out in some ways. But it turns out that the craftsmanship in the lyrics that Schultz was able to put in here was just incredible. And from a songwriting point of view, I feel this might be the best record that they've ever written. The rest of the band totally embraced being a 6-piece, and they worked to make these songs sound full without being overstuffed. While there are a few minor sections that maybe feel a bit oversaturated or drawn out, it's not a huge problem, and the fact that the album does get off to a slightly wonky start that might take a few listens to get into, Broken Boy, is a little bit of an oddball, but it actually reels it in. It becomes quite nice. It's grown on me a ton, and I really feel this album only gains traction from there. The band almost never missed their mark, no matter what point of view or perspective you look at it from, whether that be the rhythm section, the vocals, the lyrics, the influences that they're taking and honing. This record just gets better the more time I spend with it, and that's exciting for me, especially to see them bouncing back so strong from an album that I felt was bland in Tell Me I'm Pretty. We'll start by talking about a couple of the singles. Ready to Let Go is a fantastic choice for the lead-off single. It's the end of a relationship, a fresh start, so it makes sense that this was chosen as the lead single. It's got a fantastic chorus that I instantly started humming along to and singing. It's one of my most played songs of the year, and it's going to be competing with the other single, the second one that was dropped, House of Glass, for a spot on my best songs of the year. Now, House of Glass is one of these scuzzy, noisy rockers that builds up steam and momentum. I think the chorus and the hook hits you like a ton of bricks, and then that guitar solo, it really just shoots things over the moon, and I can't stop replaying. There's a really nice moment on this record that I feel kind of echoes the sentiments of Ready to Let Go, which basically saw Matt saying, "I'm finally past this, I'm finally over it. The war is over" is that song. And it's got a really, really strong bass groove. I love the kind of shuffling drum rhythm on this as well. It's something that propels the track forward, and I love the fact that it might be a metaphor when it's referring to walls in this song, because you could take it literally and look at the situation that's going on with the United States and Mexico, but you've also got the walls that people put up in their own life. And he says love was on both sides, pretty much saying all along, despite what side of the wall that we might be on literally or metaphorically, it's something that we can overcome. Love has already won. Black Madonna sees inspiration from the 70s in this mind melter of sorts that leans and taps into that psychedelic root that they've kind of been channeling throughout the record. I love this track and its massive chorus. In addition to that, I think Tokyo Smoke is another one that really roars to life in that regard. It has more of an energy, and I love the fact that this almost feels like a desert heat wave hitting you with a sense of paranoia. We uncover a gigantic tune in the form of the title track Social Cues on this LP. This song is a blast to listen to, but also kind of dark in the sense that Matt is talking about the rock star life and the fact that people kind of feed things into your ear in the industry saying, you're gonna be the next big thing, at least you're all over the radio. The chorus is kind of happy, nodding its head along, and it's got a nice little drum pattern, but you're also kind of thinking about it and you're saying, huh, he doesn't exactly seem happy here. So that balance of that chaos, it's really nice and appealing. Dance Dance is in fact not a Fall Out Boy cover, but is instead a distinct song on this LP that has a lot of suspense leading up to the chorus. And I really didn't think the would work as well as it did, but somehow the more I listen to it, the more irresistible it becomes. For as much praise as I am handing off to Social Cues, there are a few moments that maybe perhaps throw things off a bit, and the only song that I can entirely point to is really not enjoying all that much is Skin and Bones. This is a song that lines up the chorus and the lyrics a little bit awkwardly. I just don't feel that there's a good flow here, and even though I like the dynamic of the verses, and even some of the musicality of the track, I just don't feel like there's any payoff. It's just kind of floating by aimlessly. Before we get to some of the more serious and sad and somber songs, let's not forget to talk about Night Running featuring Beck, which is kind of a reggae dub rap sung collaboration between two voices that actually do complement each other pretty well, and it's kind of hooky, kind of charming in an odd way. I feel like this will be a showstopper when they perform it live together on their upcoming tour. We'll close out by discussing a few more of the relationship-centered or else inspired tracks, What I'm Becoming, Love's the Only Way, and Goodbye. And the latter of those, Goodbye, is easily the most emotional song that I've heard in all of 2019. This absolutely moved me pretty deeply and made me emotional. I definitely shed some tears to this one. Realizing Matt's pain was just a trauma in and of itself, and I can't even imagine what that feels like to go through. And when an artist is able to hand off the baton of emotions like that so well, to make you feel, it's like you touch the other end of the baton and you feel exactly what he's trying to put out in the world. This is a song that sees almost a man's entire life flashing before his eyes. It starts off at his childhood, some nostalgia, then the rose-colored glasses are taken off as he flashes back to the moment where they both realize that this marriage wasn't going to work. And the slow ambience of this track is definitely different for Cage the Elephant, but my god, the execution is flawless. This is a fantastic closer to the record, and definitely an emotional roller coaster. You might think you're strong enough to make it through this track, but once you're actually sitting down to listen to this song, to hear some of these lyrics, which the most pain-inducing one that I found was My Pretty Bird, my favorite lullaby. How'd I Become the Thorn in Your Side? It's just honestly making me a little bit emotional thinking about it, and that is when you know a song has done its job. Cage the Elephant make a lightning strike of a return after a few years away, shall we say. They were definitely dealing with some things, the difficult life events that Matt Schultz actually endured, and their willingness to make a record that expanded on their sound but also returned to their roots at the same time leads this album to a major victory lap, standing strong now that the past finally is the past. I can't wait to see how Cage grow from here, but for now, I'm looking forward to their upcoming tour, planning to catch Cage and Beck together on tour, and this record is getting a 4.5 out of 5. Let me know what you thought of Social Cues in the comments section down below. It's been a great year for music so far, at least in terms of albums. I'm just really excited with the fact that we've been getting a lot of quality music. So feel free to let me know what are your favorite records of 2019 so far, and don't forget to drop a like on this review. Thank you to all my patrons who are supporting me over on Patreon and helping videos like this come on both of my channels each and every month. Special shout out to my $50 a month patron, Josh Lincoln. If you want to see another Cage the Elephant video, then tap here for my top 10 favorite Cage songs, or tap here for another recent review, AFI Sing the Sorrow Throwback. Other than that, socials can be found in the description, and I'll see you soon for more on ARTV.